Juvie happened to pull up at the office, and when he pulled up, he was kind of shocked to see me there. I'm like, I've been here for a whole week. And he was like, man, you want to get up out of here for a minute? You know what I'm saying? And I took that ride with Juvie, and that's where my career started, with Juvenile.
And Buck, I think that's over. I think that's done. But
what do you mean?
I think his career is finished.
From the streets to stardom, let's kick it off right, because Buck's rise is wild and sets the tone for everything that followed. Growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, young David Brown wasn't living easy. He was always on the move, bouncing from North Nashville's Seafright to South Nashville's J.C. Napier projects, and later to the South 7. By just 8 years old, he already knew Nashville inside and out. To help his family, Buck stayed on his grind, pumping gas, cutting grass, washing cars, anything to earn a few bucks. Music quickly became his escape, his dream, his way out. He started freestyling with his crew, battling anyone ready to step up, slowly making noise in Nashville's underground rap scene. Then things took a crazy turn that showed his early hustle and big ambition. Buck and his homie found a BG Chopper City CD, and on the back was a phone number for Cash Money Records. Without hesitation, these two young dreamers picked up the phone and actually called the label, with a bold idea that would change everything. They hit up Cash Money saying they wanted to book them for a show in Nashville for about $5 grand, and somehow, it actually worked. The show never went down, but what came next flipped Buck's whole world. For real, Birdman was so impressed that he flew Buck out to New Orleans to talk business with Cash Money Records. At just 14, Buck made a life-changing move. He dropped out of school to chase his rap dream full-time. Whether it was the right call or not, one thing was clear: he was all in. Music wasn't just a hobby, it was his escape, his way out the struggle. The only real proof Buck's got from his Cash Money days is a quick cameo in the Big Timers' Big Ballin' video. By 1999, he'd had enough, watching everyone else shine while he stayed stuck on the sidelines. So Buck made the bold move to leave Cash Money and head back to Nashville to carve his own lane. But those years weren't wasted. He picked up major knowledge about the music game and built key connections with big names like DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia and Juvenile, links that would come in clutch later. Back home, Buck joined forces with his crew and went all in independently. No label, just pure hustle. On August 22, 2000, he and D-Tay dropped Thug Until the End, and it shocked everyone by landing on the Billboard charts, number 34 on R&B and number 17 on the indie list. For an unsigned Nashville rapper, that was massive. It proved Buck's grind was paying off and his sound had real fans out there. Then came the wake-up call that flipped everything for Buck. After surviving a scary home invasion, he made a promise to himself: no more street life, just full focus on the music hustle. Right when he needed a break, his old Cash Money Connect DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia heard about what happened and reached out. Paul, who always respected Buck's skill and pen game, sent Project Pat to scoop him from Nashville and bring him to Memphis to hit the studio. From those sessions came Buck's first major placement, Memphis on 3 6. Mafia's When the Smoke Clears, 6661. That was the moment his name started getting real buzz. Even though he didn't sign with 3 6, Buck returned to Nashville more determined, more connected, and hungrier than ever. Let's rewind for a second and break down how Buck actually joined G-Unit, because that story is wild. Just when his grind was getting real, Birdman, his old Cash Money plug, hit him up again with an offer. Things had changed big time since Buck's first shot with the label back in the late 90s. Cash Money was now massive. Huge offices, flashy cars, the whole empire shining. Birdman wanted Buck to join a new group called Head Bussa. Buck flew back to New Orleans ready to work, but history started repeating itself fast. After a week of waiting, no paperwork, no movement, just empty promises, he realized nothing was solid. Buck wasn't that same teenage dreamer anymore. He was grown now, focused, and had no time for games. Then fate stepped in. Juvenile pulled up to the Cash Money office and was shocked to see Buck still waiting around. Juvo was going through his own issues with the label and offered Buck a new path. Join his movement, UTP Records. That unexpected moment changed Buck's whole direction and set him up for what came next. Here's where Buck's street smarts really showed. When Juvenile handed him that contract, Buck didn't rush to sign it. He took it home, slid it under his bed, and never touched it again. That was a sharp move. During that time, he dropped Born to Be a Thug on October 10th, 2002, and a UTP compilation with his crew just 2 days earlier. But technically, he was never officially signed. Why? Because Buck was paying attention. He'd learned the game from Cash Money and saw Juvenile's own issues with the label. Things weren't looking steady at all. Juvenile even told him straight up that if a better chance came along, he should grab it. So while on tour with Juve, their bus stopped in New York, right when 50 Cent had the whole city lit. The driver happened to know 50's former manager, Shaw Money XL, and Buck kept asking him to make that connection. And it worked. 50 actually pulled up to the tour bus, but he came through to record with Juvenile, not Buck, at least not yet. While Juvenile and 50 were in the back of the bus cooking up tracks, Buck made a clever move. He started playing some of his own solo joints for Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, who were chilling up front. One beat instantly grabbed Banks' attention. He took it straight to the back where 50 was recording. 50 vibed with it and jumped on the track, which later became Bloodhound on the legendary Get Rich or Die Tryin' album. Though their first collab as a group was A Lil Bit of Everything on 50 Cent Is the Future. Bloodhound was the song that officially introduced Buck to the mainstream world. 50 respected Buck's talent, but couldn't sign him yet since he wasn't with a major label himself. Still, he kept Buck in mind. And sure enough, when things fell apart with UTP, fate stepped in again. 50 flew Buck out to Los Angeles to meet with him, Eminem, and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre and 50 Cent officially brought Buck into G-Unit, and for him, it was a dream come true. After years of setbacks and false starts, this was finally his shot. His first major placement on G-Unit Records was Bloodhound off 50's Get Rich or Die Tryin' album, but 50 played it smart. Instead of dropping Buck's solo project right away, he decided to introduce him as part of the crew first through the group album Beg for Mercy. That move was genius. Beg for Mercy debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 377,000 copies in its first week, and went on to sell over 2.7 million copies in the US, nearly diamond worldwide. Buck had officially made it to the big leagues, and the streets were locked in. Following the G-Unit formula, Buck kept the momentum rolling with a mixtape, Welcome to the Hood, hosted by DJ Who Kid, which dropped May 31st, 2004. That set the stage for his solo debut just 2 months later. His first single, Let Me In, featuring 50 Cent, dropped and peaked at number 34 on the Billboard Hot 100, heating things up for what came next. Then came the big one. August 24th, 2004, Buck released his debut album, Straight Outta Cashville. It smashed the charts, debuting at number 3 on Billboard and selling 361,000 copies in the first week, later going platinum. His second single, Shorty Wanna Ride, became his highest charting solo hit at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. But beyond the numbers, Buck did something historic. He broke what many called the Nashville curse, becoming the first non-country artist from the city to hit major mainstream success in hip-hop. That was a powerful moment for the culture in the city. People used to talk about a so-called Nashville curse, claiming non-country artists could never blow up from the city. But Buck shattered that myth completely. He opened the doors wide for Nashville hip-hop. Then came November 15th, 2004, the night of the Vibe Awards, where things got intense and would leave a mark on Buck's career. Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, the whole G-Unit crew, and Suge Knight were all in the building. During the event, reports claimed that a man named Jimmy Johnson got into it with Dr. Dre, and Buck was accused of reacting in the chaos that followed. He went on the run briefly before turning himself in a few days later. The case dragged on for over a year, ending with Buck receiving 3 years of probation and community service. Though the outcome was light, it served as a warning. The streets and the industry don't mix well. It showed how Buck's raw instincts and deep loyalty could sometimes put his success at risk. Still, Buck didn't let that slow him down. In 2005, he stayed grinding, appearing on 3 6 Mafia's massive hit, Stay Fly, which hit number 13 on Billboard and went double platinum. He even dropped an indie project to promote artists from his new division, G-Unit South, which 50 Cent put him in charge of. By 2006, Buck was more than just a rapper. He was building his own movement, running the streets with mixtapes, and gearing up for the next big chapter in his career. Buck dropped Case Dismissed, the introduction of G-Unit South with DJ Drama, a project that celebrated the end of his legal troubles from the Vibe Awards incident, and introduced the new artist he was bringing up under the G-Unit South banner. But while Buck was focused on music and rebuilding, tension was brewing behind the scenes. As he worked on his second album, Buck the World, 50 Cent and their shared manager, Shaw Money XL, started having major disagreements. 50 called a meeting and told the entire G-Unit crew they had to find new management because he was cutting ties with Shaw Money for good. Here's where Buck's biggest strength, his loyalty, turned into a problem. He was tight with Shaw Money, even serving as best man at his wedding. So when 50 told everyone to drop him, Banks and Yayo followed orders, but Buck refused. To him, Shaw wasn't just a manager, he was family. And Buck didn't see a reason to turn his back on someone who'd always looked out for him. But 50 took that as disloyalty, like Buck was picking sides. And that moment started the rift that would soon explode. The tension between 50 and Buck kicked in fast. Suddenly, you'd see 50, Banks, and Yayo together at shows and events. But Buck and Shaw Money were on their own promoting Buck the World. Buck always believed that lack of G-Unit support hurt the album's success. It dropped March 27, 2007, debuting at number 3 on Billboard with around 140,000 first-week sales and later going gold. But it didn't hit like Straight Outta Cashville. The singles, I Know You Want Me and Get Buck, didn't chart as strong. And behind the scenes, things were getting messy. 50 started accusing Buck of being too friendly with his rival, The Game, Jadakiss, Fat Joe, and Jim Jones. Buck said he wasn't cool with them. He was passing info to 50 about what they were saying. But 50 saw any contact as betrayal. Then came the money drama. 50 claimed Buck was reckless with spending and ignored his taxes. He even said he'd covered them twice before cutting him off. By 2008, Buck found out he owed $300,000 to the IRS. Major stress. That January, things got worse when Buck hit the stage with Lil Wayne and Birdman, and they told him to leave G-Unit for Young Money. Buck agreed on stage, and when 50 saw the clip, he was livid. By February 2008, G-Unit dropped a new mixtape, Return of the Body Snatchers Volume 1, but Buck was missing from it completely. Fans were confused since he and 50 had just dropped Feel Good a few months before. Then came the moment that flipped everything and sent Buck's career into chaos. In March 2008, 50 and Buck had a private phone call, except 50 secretly recorded the whole thing. Afterward, things looked cool again for a minute. Buck even appeared on Elephant in the Sand, another G-Unit mixtape that same month. For a second, it felt like peace was possible, but that didn't last. On March 20th, 2008, Yo Raps magazine dropped an interview where Buck said, "I'm still waiting on a royalty check. I've never seen one since I signed with G-Unit." He added that show money was his only real income. The problem? That interview was old, but it dropped right when he and 50 were rebuilding trust. The timing blew everything up, reigniting all the tension just as things were finally starting to calm down. It felt like straight-up sabotage. Shaw Money XL tried to calm things down fast, denying rumors and saying Buck had made over $10 million under 50's guidance, but the damage was already done. On April 7th, 2008, 50 Cent called into Hot 97 and officially announced that Young Buck was no longer part of G-Unit the group, though he was still signed to G-Unit Records as a solo artist. A week later, when the whole crew showed up at Hot 97, 50 dropped more details and even claimed Buck was struggling personally. Buck stayed silent for weeks, likely trying to process everything. Then on May 12, 2008, he came back swinging with a track called My Interview, addressing both his removal from G-Unit and the rumors about him. But in June, things hit the breaking point. On June 15, 2008, Buck took the stage and publicly dissed G-Unit. It was the point of no return. 2 days later, 50 released that secret phone recording where Buck was heard emotional and asking for guidance. Buck clapped back the very next day with the taped conversation, turning his pain into music. The Game even hopped on the remix, and rumors spread about a joint mixtape titled Worth More Than 50 Cent. But that project never dropped. When G-Unit dropped their second album, Terminate on Sight, on July 1st, 2008, Buck's role was barely there. He was only featured on 4 songs, basically treated like a guest on his own crew's project. For the rest of that year, Buck couldn't release much new music. He claimed 50 was blocking his moves since he was still signed to G-Unit Records, which meant 50 had control over what Buck could officially drop. So in 2009, Buck switched up his grind and hit the streets heavy with mixtapes instead. And that's when real fans noticed something powerful. This was some of Buck's rawest, most emotional music ever. You could hear the hunger, the struggle, the real pain in his voice. He dropped Back for the Streets on April 11th and Back on My Buck on May 26th, both packed with energy and focus. Tracks like I Want It All and I Got It featuring Young Jeezy proved he was still a beast behind the mic. But while his mixtape game was strong, his personal and legal troubles kept piling up. On August 3rd, 2010, the IRS raided his home over $300,000 in unpaid taxes, a massive blow that pushed Buck deeper into survival mode. During the 2010 IRS raid, agents found a weapon in Buck's home. Because of his prior conviction from the Vibe Awards case, he was charged again, even though he insisted it belonged to his licensed tour manager. Just 3 days later, Buck turned that chaos into art with a new track, My Campaign, proving once again how he could flip pain into music. On August 19, 2010, he filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, a desperate but strategic move that finally freed him from his G-Unit contract. Soon after, on September 7th, he dropped his independent album, The Rehab, debuting at number 55 on Billboard, with over 6,000 first-week sales. Not huge numbers, but a solid statement of independence. Still, the pressure didn't stop. In 2011, G-Unit Records hit him with a $10 million lawsuit, and that same year, 50 Cent trolled him online with a cold tweet about money owed. Then, in March 2012, Buck survived a drive-by outside a Nashville club. His girlfriend was wounded but recovered. By July 13, 2012, Buck was sentenced to 18 months in prison on the weapons charge, and a month later, the IRS auctioned off nearly everything he owned. The IRS only collected around $53,000 from selling Buck's things, a painful public reminder of how far he'd fallen. In August 2012, Buck turned himself in to serve his 18-month sentence. By October 2013, he was free again. And what happened next stunned the hip-hop world. Behind the scenes, 50 Cent had started repairing ties with Banks and Yayo, and surprisingly, he reached out to Buck too. On June 1st, 2014, at Hot 97's Summer Jam, 50 brought out all 3 original G-Unit members for a full reunion. The crowd went wild. They dropped The Beauty of Independence in August 2014 and The Beast is G-Unit in March 2015, both packed with real heat, giving fans hope that the old chemistry was back. Buck stayed busy with his ambitious 10 mixtape series, 10 Bullets, 10 Bricks, 10 Bodies, and more, proving his grind never stopped. But more legal issues kept surfacing. In 2016, he was jailed again over a domestic dispute, then bounced back with Can't Lose in 2018, a track that showed his fire was still alive. He even announced a new studio album with 50 Cent and Dr. Dre behind it, but things quickly fell apart again. By 2019, 50 claimed Buck owed him over $300,000 and blocked his releases. Then a leaked phone call in 2019 went viral, sparking online mockery and effectively ending any hope of another reunion. In 2020, Buck filed bankruptcy again to escape lawsuits tied to 50, but by 2023, he lost the case and agreed to pay over $200,000 in debt. In 2025, he served a short sentence for violating bond conditions from an older case. Now, though, Buck seems more grounded, focused on rebuilding, celebrating milestones like Straight Outta Cashville's 18th anniversary, and showing real growth. He's been through it all, success, downfall, and redemption, but he's still standing strong. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more deep dives like this, and we'll see you on the next one.